Welcome, dear Sagittarius, both long-time travelers of this channel and those of you who may have stumbled in by what you think is chance, though the stars would say otherwise. Here at Zodiac Talks Tarot, nothing arrives by accident, especially not you. September 2025 is not merely another month penciled on a calendar, it is a spiritual threshold, a moment that has been quietly gathering momentum for years. For some, the dream that stirs now may have been seeded in childhood, a vision once dismissed as fanciful, now preparing to walk into your life with the poise of a swan gliding across still waters. And yes, beneath that grace lies effort, discipline, and an almost stubborn faith that refused to die, much like you refusing to take no for an answer when destiny itself seemed to close the door. As a researcher of human nature, I can tell you that Sagittarius energy thrives where curiosity meets courage. You leap before looking, you joke when the room grows heavy, and you chase horizons even when others call it reckless. Yet that very recklessness often carries a strange wisdom the kind monks might recognize as non-attachment, or the novelist might describe as a refusal to live a boring plot. Life, after all, is a cosmic comedy, and Sagittarians are notorious for knowing exactly when to deliver the punchline. But here is the deeper truth: this month's humor carries weight, its joy is prophetic, and its spontaneity hides a profound lesson. September 2025 invites you not just to dream but to witness the dream crossing over into reality. You are standing at the border of vision and fulfillment, and the story is finally ready to unfold with you at the center. Picture the swan, Sagittarius, smooth, radiant, gliding across the lake as if the world itself exists only to be its mirror. People watch and say, "Ah, look at that elegance, that grace, that ease." What they don't see, of course, are the furious little legs paddling like mad beneath the water. That, my friend, is the perfect metaphor for you. For years you've been carrying a dream that felt both beautiful and, at times, absurd. It was the kind of dream that others might laugh at over coffee, dismissing it as too big, too idealistic, or not practical. And maybe on your darker days, you even laughed at yourself, rolling your eyes and muttering, "What was I thinking?" Yet, just like that swan, you never stopped paddling. You never allowed cynicism to kill the quiet flame in your chest. You kept the heart alive even when logic, economics, or the so-called wisdom of the world told you it was hopeless. And here lies the secret: the universe is not in the business of rewarding quitters. It doesn't hand out blessings to those who walk away the moment things get uncomfortable. The universe, in all its maddening humor, waits to see who is stubborn enough to keep paddling when the water feels endless. And Sagittarius, you are one of those rare chosen ones who endure the long wait not because you enjoy suffering, but because somewhere deep inside you've always known, one day, this dream would not just stay in your head, it would break through into reality. September 2025 is that moment of breakthrough. This isn't just another season, this is the landing, the arrival, the long-awaited yes. Now, let's look at the wider cosmic stage. Jupiter, your ruling planet, the cosmic Santa Claus who never shows up empty-handed, is currently moving through Cancer until July 2026. Jupiter doesn't do half measures. Wherever it goes, it expands, it magnifies, it says, "More, please." And in Cancer, the sign of family, roots, and ancestral inheritance, Jupiter doesn't ask about your bank account or your resume. Instead, it leans in with that booming voice and asks, "What do you truly belong to? What has always been yours, even before you were born?" That's the question that echoes for you this year. And so we call it the Year of Triumph 2025, but not the kind of triumph measured in trophies or applause. No, this is a quieter, more profound triumph. This is about the dream lodged in your bones since childhood. The one that refused to die no matter how many detours life forced upon you. Now it rises from within and says, "You've carried me faithfully long enough. You've watered me with patience, with laughter, with faith. Now it's my turn to serve you. Now I step into form. But here's where things get even more deliciously Sagittarian. You know that reputation you've got? The one where people say you talk too loud, dream too big, or live too wildly. They're not entirely wrong. You are, after all, the Zodiac's archer, forever pointing your arrow at distant horizons when others are content to keep their feet on the ground. But what they don't understand is that your excess is not frivolous, it's necessary. It's the medicine this weary world needs. Because without people like you, without your wild laughter, without your impractical hope, the collective spirit of humanity would sink into dull grayness. You're the splash of color, the roaring campfire, the one who insists that life must be lived, not merely endured. And now, at last, that side of you is no longer something to apologize for. This month is the death of fragility. The days of shrinking your wings to squeeze into cages never built for you are over. You've played small to avoid offending people who were never going to understand you anyway. You've second-guessed your own fire to fit into rooms that were too dimly lit for your radiance. But the sky itself has conspired to liberate you. Mark these dates. September 7th brings a lunar eclipse in Pisces, and September 21st delivers a solar eclipse in Virgo. Together, they are the cosmic wrecking crew. They will slam the door on your old fears, your old compromises, your old patterns of holding back. Imagine a fragile glass ceiling cracking and then shattering entirely. That's what happens inside you. These eclipses pull no punches. They break what needs breaking so that what is real can finally stand unshaken. So, Sagittarius, take a deep breath and prepare. September 2025 is not simply kind to you, it is transformational. The swan you've been waiting for is here, and it is you. Not the half-hidden version, not the fragile dreamer worrying about judgment, but the full, unapologetic creature of grace, power, and persistence. You didn't just paddle aimlessly all these years, you were training for this crossing. And now, at long last, the far shore has appeared. Faith, Sagittarius, is one of those slippery words people like to toss around at graduations, weddings, and political rallies, but in your case it is no abstraction, it has been a survival tool. The old Buddhist teaching that suffering arises from attachment has circled the world for centuries. But what often gets lost in translation is that joy, too, has its roots, and those roots are devotion. And Sagittarius, whether you've realized it or not, you have been devout. Not in the stiff, church pew sense, but in your unshakable commitment to truth, to humanity, and to your half-crazy, half-genius vision of a better world. When others surrendered to cynicism, you doubled down on laughter. When life got bleak, you lit bonfires. When people told you to settle down, you bought another plane ticket. This wasn't recklessness, it was medicine. You understood instinctively that the soul cannot survive on seriousness alone. And now, that strange combination of humor and faith is about to yield dividends. Mountains do not move for the bitter, they move for those who dare to keep hope alive. And if mountains could laugh, they'd probably pick up the pace when a Sagittarius cracked a joke halfway up the slope. Because let's be real, no one delivers comic relief under duress quite like you. Think of your life as a spiritual marathon, everyone else is wheezing, complaining about blisters, and there you are making bad puns about the finish line. That's why the universe notices. That's why doors are opening now. Between September 7th and September 21st, something fundamental shifts. The cosmos is not in the mood for half measures. The two eclipses of this month are not gentle suggestions, they are cosmic reset buttons. One moment, you're staring at a system that seems locked in place, the next moment, it's been wiped clean and replaced with something entirely new. Some of you will stumble into career opportunities that seem almost suspiciously perfect. Others will find relationships arriving with uncanny timing, as if written into the script of your life long before you showed up to rehearse it. And some of you true to Sagittarian form will start packing literal bags. A new city, a new country, a new chapter that insists you cannot stay where you've been. Here's the tricky thing about eclipses, they don't care about your comfort zone. If you've been clutching something false, a job that deadens you, a relationship that shrinks you, or an identity that no longer fits, September will rip it away with surgical precision. Painful, yes, but liberating. And if you've been loyal to your heart all this time, the reward will appear unmistakably. Perhaps not in the exact costume you imagined, it might not look like the dream-carved fantasy you scribbled at 18, but you'll know it's yours the moment it arrives. It will hum with recognition. The tarot lays this out with refreshing bluntness. The Page of Wands, the King of Wands, and the Seven of Cups step forward like three characters in a play. The Page announces the new beginning, the spark of adventure. The King insists on maturity, discipline, and vision, reminding you that passion without structure burns itself out. And the Seven of Cups, that tricky mirror, lays out your choices, some gleaming treasures, others glittering illusions. It whispers, choose wisely. This is not a season for dabbling. You cannot toe dip into destiny. You must commit. That choice will not just change your calendar or your bank account, it will restructure your very sense of self. That's how deep the shift runs. And here is where psychology, spirituality, and common sense converge. You already know which choice is right. The human brain loves to complicate, to spin scenarios until decision feels impossible. But intuition, the clear, wordless voice at the center of you, knows instantly. This is the Buddhist whisper: silence the noise. Pause. Breathe. Let the static fall away, and what remains is clarity. That's the third eye opening, the sixth chakra tuning in, not to fantasy, but to truth. So yes, Sagittarius, laugh at the absurdity, because the road ahead will have its share of cosmic irony. But trust the humor as much as the silence. Between faith and jokes, you've kept yourself sane through long waiting years. Now those very tools are the keys that open September's door. Sagittarius, allow me to pause from the heavier truths and offer a moment of levity, because let's be honest, you need it. You're the sign most likely to walk into a room full of stressed professionals and announce, with complete sincerity, what if we all quit our jobs tomorrow and start a llama farm in Peru? Half the room will look horrified, one or two might nervously laugh, but you, of course, will already be Googling the price of llama feed. That's the essence of your humor, outrageous, impractical, yet oddly inspiring. And here's the wild part this September: don't be shocked if one of those wild, borderline ridiculous ideas suddenly looks possible. The cosmos has a way of winking at Sagittarius and saying, why not? Just remember this small piece of wisdom: llamas spit, and so does the universe when you forget to read the fine print. So yes, dream big, take the leap, but maybe pack a towel. Beneath that humor, however, lies one of the most profound themes of your month: mentorship and guidance. You are not alone on this path, no matter how fiercely independent you've tried to be. The sense that someone has my back will resonate strongly now. For some, this presence will take the form of a mentor, a teacher, or a guide who enters your life at just the right time. For others, it may be subtler: an ancestor, a spiritual ally, or simply the unmistakable hand of synchronicity rearranging your steps. You may notice strange coincidences, odd repetitions of words, or sudden meetings that feel scripted by forces beyond logic. Don't dismiss these as random. They are breadcrumbs, left by wiser hands, guiding you toward the path you are meant to walk. And as the dream you've been chasing begins to take shape, something surprising will stir inside you. Not pride, but gratitude. This is where the innocence returns. The Swan of Grace doesn't appear to elevate you above others, nor to crown you with hollow status symbols. It arrives because the world needs what you carry. And when you realize this, the Sagittarius response won't be polished or staged, it will be messy, unfiltered, and utterly genuine. You may find yourself laughing through tears, whispering thanks to the sky, or falling to your knees in disbelief. It is in these moments that your humanity shines most clearly. From gratitude flows generosity. The universe does not bless you so that you can hoard, it blesses you so that you can expand. And Jupiter, your ruling planet, does not believe in small circles. It believes in widening ripples. Whatever you receive, be it opportunity, wisdom, or joy, will grow exponentially when you share it. If you try to clutch it selfishly, it withers. But the moment you extend it outward through knowledge, through resources, through that signature Sagittarius laughter, it multiplies in ways you couldn't predict. And of course, no Sagittarius forecast would be complete without the theme of travel. For some of you, this will mean boarding an actual plane. Perhaps a job offer or a partnership arrives that demands you cross borders, expand horizons, or uproot old routines. For others, it may be a more symbolic relocation, a shift in social circles, a move across town, or simply stepping out of an old stagnant mindset. Whatever form it takes, the message is clear: stagnation is poison to you, and September insists on motion. You are not meant to sit still, not when the world itself is opening like a map in your hands. So this month, Sagittarius, expect the outrageous to look oddly possible, expect mentors to show up when you least anticipate them, expect gratitude to crack open your heart, and expect movement to propel you into new terrain. Humor, guidance, generosity, and travel, this is the constellation of your September. And like any good story, it comes with a moral: laugh often, listen deeply, share freely, and for heaven's sake, if you do end up with llamas, pack more than one towel. Sagittarius, September does not just light up your dreams, it puts its hands firmly on your body and says, time for a tune-up. You've been running like a traveler who fills the gas tank only when the needle hits empty, convinced you can squeeze another 50 miles out of thin air. This month teaches you otherwise. Your body is the vehicle of your destiny, and it requires more than coffee, late-night philosophy, and a quick jog when guilt kicks in. A restructuring of your health routines, your diet, or your daily movement may suddenly feel not like a chore but like a calling. Think of it as preparing the vessel before the long voyage, because what is the use of having the dream if the ship itself is leaking? For some of you, the fog that has lingered for years will lift, revealing a strength you didn't realize was still inside you. And yes, Sag, before you ask, laughter still counts as exercise, but maybe add a salad to balance it out. The closing symbol for this month is the tree of life. Solid, rooted, bearing fruit. Progress, protection, growth. The fruits are hanging low now, and the universe isn't teasing you with something out of reach, it's saying yes. Not maybe, not someday, but yes, here and now. The only question is whether you will step forward and pluck what is already ripe. Too often you've been the archer staring at the horizon, waiting for the perfect sign. This time the sign is standing right in front of you, and it has branches, shade, and fruit enough to sustain you. And what does it all mean? Let's strip away the poetry for a moment. The world is tired. Cynicism is cheap, fear spreads like wildfire, and apathy has become the fashion statement of an entire generation. But you, Sagittarius, are built to defy that tide. You are the one aiming at horizons others can't even imagine. You've been bruised, mocked for your optimism, and yes, you've spent nights wrestling with doubt. But those nights are behind you. This is the season when your fragile dream turns unbreakable, when the faith that once made people laugh becomes the very key that opens your path, when devotion quiet and unseen finally wears the crown of triumph. September 2025 is not just another page in your calendar. It is a rite of passage, a threshold into a larger life. You are the chosen ones of this season, and the year of triumph 2025 belongs to you. So go ahead, pack the bags, chase the outrageous adventure, laugh at the absurdity, and trust the signs the universe keeps slipping into your pocket. And above all, remember, Swan grace only appears to those who kept believing when everyone else walked away. So, Sagittarius, enjoy this moment. Let yourself taste the fruits of your patience, savor the renewal of body and spirit, and embrace the horizon that is finally opening. And if these words resonated with you, I invite you to like this video, share it with fellow seekers, and subscribe to my channel, Zodiac Talks Tarot, where we keep exploring the wisdom of the stars with a little humor and a lot of heart. The journey doesn't end here, it's only just beginning.